The model is meant to make things easier for us and to reduce the complexity. And so we do that by creating these neat categories. But as we know, in reality, most people and most parents don't fit neatly into boxes and labels. And so a lot of the time, most parents and your parents and you as a parent may be quite supportive, but at other times may either be permissive or overly harsh and critical, or possibly even traumatizing the child. And so, yeah, we have to embrace that complexity if we really want to understand the psychological dynamics. But yet, you can say that in general, on the whole, most of the time, my parent was either supportive or permissive or suppressive or harsh and or abusive and neglectful. So it's just about like the main or the core parenting style. And most people do know this, like they can recognize it once they start to understand these parenting attachment styles. So, yes, what is the parenting style of avoidant personality and social anxiety? So, the key criteria or the core symptom of it is this fear, this overwhelming fear of rejection and humiliation. And so the core emotions are fear and shame, but it points to a pervasive and consistent and chronic rejection and humiliation by the parent of the child. And so, yeah, but that's one aspect to it. There's another aspect to it, which is the emotional stunting and the social inhibitions aspect. And so it's related, um, and there's a bit of an overlap. So like this kind of rejecting, humiliating behavior also has a component of what can you call it, maternal deprivation or uh, neglect, but it might not be like the neglect we think of, like the child is dirty and hungry and unfed and all of that, but I mean emotional and social neglect. So this parent, for whatever reason, cannot attune and cannot communicate with the child or does not, and so the ability to read and feel emotions from the caregiver in the face, in the eyes, in the tone of voice, in the body language and everything, because that communication is not happening, that attunement and connection is not happening, so those pathways in the brain are not developed and not built, and this leads to that social in the social inhibitions and this inability to read and feel emotions from others and to empathize with the emotions of others. And there's yet another component to it, because during in the strange situation experiment, when the avoidant child is left alone, then they are feeling a lot of internal distress about the situation, but they are unable to show that they are upset and that they are in distress. So they have learned, they've been conditioned to hide their responses, and they hide their emotions, hide their stress and distress and discomfort, and hide their responses so you don't react to situations and you internalize. And yeah, so we have to look at it on those three levels. So yeah, the parenting style is rejecting, humiliating, harsh, critical, and suppressive, and it's got an element of neglect to it, or lack of communication or deprivation.